Am I the jerk for standing up to my family and talking back to them? Hi everyone, this is my first time posting here. I don't know how to post on Reddit, and I only read on here. Sorry for any spelling or speech errors, as English is not my first language. I'm going to keep the post short, so some information may be missing. I am a 25-year-old male living with my mother, who is 54 years old, and my younger brother, who is 20 years old, in our family home. My father built this home 15 years ago. We live in Pakistan. My father died in 2022 due to a sudden heart attack, which no one saw coming. After his death, my paternal side of the family started discussing the family inheritance. Most of it was what my father had earned and made during his lifetime, not what my paternal grandparents had left behind. They had died a long time ago. After my father's death, all my paternal uncles and cousins took almost everything from us. All that was left to us was our family home, which my father had bought when he married my mother. Before you ask why we didn't take any legal action, the justice system here only works if you have money and can bribe people. If you're poor, you don't matter, so we didn't have the means to fight them. My mother suffered an accident in 2015, which fractured both of her femurs. They never recovered even after countless failed surgeries and procedures, so now she's in a wheelchair. At the time of the inheritance talk, my family would mostly come to threaten us. After a while of fighting for some inheritance, we got a piece of land that helps us generate roughly $1,000 in rent. Both my brother and I are jobless. We do get some part-time jobs here and there, but we mostly make do with the $1,000 a month. Today when they came to our house to talk and check up on us, they asked why we don't talk to them or visit the village. They suggested that we should start up a business like my father did all on his own. After listening to them for a while, I went off on them. I told them how they took everything from us and now expect us to start a business. I asked with what money and how neither I nor my family would ever go back to the village to visit them, even if someone is getting married or one of my uncles dies. After some not so kind words, they left. Now I kind of feel bad. Even though they did what they did a year or two ago, we really don't have anyone else on our side. With basically zero financial support and no savings, we live month to month. If something happened with my mother's condition, we would practically be homeless. So, am I the asshole for going off on my paternal family? You are not the one to blame. Those relatives sound like vultures who came to strip the resources. It's normal to still have hard feelings, especially considering the widow is in a wheelchair. That's not a family, that's a nightmare. Am I the jerk for not letting the mother of my partner's other child touch my baby? We've been together for 7 years in a rocky relationship, but the mother of his other child has always had an issue with me. She has always talked negatively about me loudly on the phone with him so I could hear. I have always been there for her daughter as much as I could. I love her like my own and I have never talked badly about her mother at all. I honestly have too busy of a life to focus on her. In the past, I read messages on my boyfriend's phone from her talking really badly about me. She was angry when she found out I was pregnant and said, "What's next, marriage?" She called me a crazy psycho because I asked if my boyfriend could stay home the week I was due. Her daughter had a soccer tournament she wanted him to drive her to. The messages I saw actually hurt me because growing up, I had terrible step-parents who weren't there for me. I am the opposite with her daughter. I've never had any issue with her mother, and I don't even speak about her to my boyfriend. Now, onto the question. My boyfriend's father passed away, and the first day the family all went to see his mother. The baby mom came to drop off her daughter and I said hi to her. She ignored me, didn't even look at me, and just greeted everyone else. I thought, I'm not going to cause any issues because there are bigger things we're dealing with today. It was awkward as she stayed and didn't speak. After she left, everything was all good. The daughter gave me a hug, and we went on with the day. Fast forward to today, 4 days after seeing her. I was holding my baby, and she walked in again, walked right past me, didn't acknowledge me at all, and tried to squeeze my son's face, saying loudly, "Hi, EBD's name." I politely asked her not to touch his face. Then she got argumentative with me, yelling, "Don't ever touch my daughter then." I told her she needs to acknowledge me if she wants to meet my son. She walked out of the house and yelled, "Bye, baby's name," while glaring at me. There is clearly some issue she has with me, but we are supposed to be focused on grieving right now. I thought it was hurtful that she didn't put her emotions to the side and acknowledge me. Anyways, the day went on. My boyfriend told me to just be the bigger person and not cause issues. Later on, her daughter wanted to come to our house, so my boyfriend went to drop us off and go back to be with his mother. His daughter didn't have an overnight bag, so he texted the mom, and she said she's not allowed to stay at our house because of me. Obviously, this upset him, and he's already stressed. He got upset with me. Am I really the asshole here for not letting her touch my son when all throughout these 7 years, she's talked so badly about me? I don't let strangers touch my child, so I thought at least it would be respectful for her to talk or say hello to me first. She's 8 years older than I am. I think maybe that has to do with some of the anger she has. I'm not sure, but am I the asshole? You are not to blame. This is some kindergarten behavior, and it's a shame she is using her daughter to get back at you. How could anyone trust someone like that? The real problem isn't this woman. It's the boyfriend who expects you to just accept being mistreated. Am I the jerk for telling my parent I won't care for them when they're old? For context, I am a 23-year-old female, and my mother is 41 years old. My parents split up when I was 2 and I've always lived with my father. He was single for years, going to college and taking care of me while trying to make ends meet. My mother, on the other hand, got involved with the wrong crowd. She married someone else, and at first, they were doing well. She even attempted to get custody of me while I was in 3rd grade, but failed. Then somehow they both got addicted to pain pills and were always doing drugs. They divorced when I was around 11, and my mother never even attempted to find a job for herself or stable housing, despite having a cosmetology license. She went to prison for 2 years while I was in high school due to drug possession near a school. I figured after she got out she would change and get her life together, but no. She always tells me she loves me and wants to provide for me, but has never even attempted to get her life together to be able to do right by her child. Often she will call me to say she is depressed and wants to end it all, or that I am a terrible child because I do not call her every day. I work full-time, take multiple classes for respiratory therapy, live with my boyfriend, and take care of our 2 dogs. My schedule is very full, and I have told her she can always come by to see me and hang out. She never does because she will not work to save for a car. I do not go to see her because she is always at random houses with random drug users, and I feel uncomfortable. We got into an argument one day because I told her I am an adult now. I provide everything for myself, and do not need her in the same way that I did when I was 12 years old. She lost her temper and said that I am blowing her off. In reality, she has never been there for me. Any advice, help, or genuine love and care has come from my father and his side of the family. She gets jealous when she hears that I have spent time with my father and not her. She told me that I better take care of her when she is old. I told her honestly, you never took care of me and could not even be bothered to get a job to support yourself your whole life. Why should I support you? It may have been harsh, and I hope my mother gets the help she needs. However, I have tried for years to set her up with a job, connections, or college, and she will not help herself. I am tired pretending to care for someone who will not care for themselves and never took care of me. You are not the problem. You're setting healthy boundaries, which speaks to the great job your dad did raising you. She shouldn't expect anything from you when she's never been there for you. Your mom is still young and has time to turn things around to secure a better future for herself if she wants to. It's a good thing you told her this now, so it won't come as a surprise to her later. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay before services were given when it wasn't discussed beforehand? I hired this landscaper to mow my lawn since we haven't moved into our new house yet, and won't for a few more weeks. Through phone calls and texts, he accepted and told me he would squeeze me in on Saturday for $100. Saturday came and I received a text from him saying he never asked for the address, so I sent it to him. He sent me a few photos of our backyard, I hadn't seen it in a few weeks, and increased the price by $50 for a total of $150. I agreed without argument because it was pretty bad and needed to be done. Only then did he ask if I had Venmo to pay him. I said no, I had Zelle or Apple Pay. He asked if I had Cash App and I repeated no. I mentioned my wife had Venmo, but she wasn't reachable at the moment. He said, I just want to get paid once I complete this. I told him I understood, but at the moment all I had was Zelle and Apple Cash, but that Zelle would be better because it's faster. He said he didn't have Zelle. Luckily, my wife called me, so I asked for her Venmo information and logged in. I asked for the landscaper's information and set it all up to pay him once he finished. After a minute, he asked, are you going to send it? I told him that I was going to send it after he finished. His response was, I don't operate like that. We haven't done business before, and you have my word I'm already here. I'm legit. I had never used this guy before and was only recommended to him because the initial lawn care service I was going to use said they didn't service my area, but he would. I explained that he said he wanted to get paid once he completed this, and I was making sure I had everything set up to pay him once he completed the job. He said, have a nice day, sir. I asked if he was going to do the lawn, and when I didn't get a response, I told him also to have a nice day and was sorry he wasted his time. He came back with, no, I'd wasted my time if I'd done that job for you. My last text to him explained that we didn't discuss how he would get paid until he showed up, and if I had known he expected payment upfront, I would have either paid him beforehand or hired a company. I had a list of other landscapers in the area and wished him a safe drive home. I feel like this is completely unprofessional because he didn't discuss payment until he was already there. Then, with his last comment, he insinuated that it would have been a waste of his time if he had done the job because I wouldn't pay him. Yet I was expected to trust him because he's legit. I understand that trust is part of the business, but at no point did I insinuate that I didn't believe he wouldn't do the job. Am I the asshole? You are not the one to blame. It's normal to pay for services after they're rendered, just like with plumbers or landscapers. It seems like the guy might have had trust issues from a previous experience, but it's still not a good look for him. If you found him through Yelp, leave a review to let others know he expects payment up front. Am I the jerk for not accepting my partner's new obsession with anime? When my 24-year-old female husband, who who is 25 years old and male, and I first started dating, we went through all the normal discussions of our likes and dislikes. One of my strongest aversions has always been anime for a variety of reasons, which I made very clear. Obviously, it is a subjective take that not everyone agrees with, but happily for me, my now husband agreed and said he hated it too. About a year into our engagement, I found him watching an anime, Attack on Titan. I was taken aback, but he said one of his best friends insisted he watch it, and it wasn't one of the bad ones. I watched with him and agreed it wasn't so bad. A couple of weeks later, I found him watching another, Berserk. Again, he said his friend recommended it and it wasn't cringy. I tried watching but tapped out and begged him to make that the last anime he watched. He assured me he wouldn't go any further. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and he had not only started watching 2 more animes that he admitted were a little cringy, but also had a self-proclaimed obsession with Berserk. He spent hundreds of dollars on Berserk books and said he was getting a Berserk tattoo. I shut down the tattoo on the grounds that I did not want a permanent anime reference on his body that I would have to look at every day. He called me unreasonable, saying that I had no reason to hate anime so much. I replied that whether or not it seemed reasonable to him now didn't matter because I made it clear how I felt from our first day together, and he's the one who started watching it despite that. We are married now, and he just keeps sinking more and more into anime. He starts a new show every few weeks, each one cringier than the last, which he admits, and all he wants to do is watch them. A big part of us spending time together after work used to be hanging out and watching shows or movies, but now he'll hole up, watching anime until bed, even when I tell him I'd like to watch something together. Every now and then it really sets me over the edge and the argument starts again, with him saying, "There's no reason for you to hate it so much," and me responding, "Reasonable to you or not, doesn't matter because I made my feelings clear before you decided to get into it. All we do is go in circles." From my perspective, it was extremely disrespectful for him to make this a hobby when he knew perfectly well how strongly I hated it. It's even worse that he sticks to it despite the friction it's causing in our relationship. From his perspective, I don't have a real reason to hate it, so that shouldn't stop him, and I'm being unreasonable for continuing to bring it up. I really want to resolve this, so I need to know, which one of us is the one at fault here, or are we both in the wrong? Look, if you're not willing to give your reasons, it's hard to take this ban on anime seriously. You're getting upset over TV shows, and it's such a silly thing to be so all or nothing about. Your husband should be allowed to have his own hobbies without you shutting them down on the basis of what exactly. Maybe try to find a middle ground and let people enjoy what they enjoy. Am I the jerk for calling my family out? Hi, so I, 19 years old, and my younger brother, 17 years old, are expecting our A-level results this Thursday. Mine will determine if I get into university. My brother's results won't affect his immediate future plans, but we both view this day as very important. For years, my parents have failed to be present for important events. Anything that was in their interest, they would attend without issues. Due to ongoing issues with my parents, I moved out at a young age, as recommended by my mental health team. My parents have built up this final exam results day to be a huge event in my head, telling me they would save money and we would go out to a fancy restaurant. They also promised a big party and a shopping trip so long as I got into university. I have faced many challenges. I won't go into details, but I spent a good chunk of the last few years in and out of the hospital. The fact that I was able to keep myself healthy enough to take these exams is nothing short of a miracle. I found out this week that my parents have booked a trip to Europe and are touring different countries during results day. They will not be here for me or my brother. They blame me for not realizing sooner. They never even brought it up as a possibility until today, and have asked me to forgo getting my own results. Instead, they want me to be there for my brother when he gets his. His results are important to him but will not affect any of his plans for next year. He has the option to retake, which I do not. I kind of blew up at them and told them it is not fair to expect me to play the role of a parent because they chose to go away. The exact texts were, "I'm not going to lie. I'm really upset you guys won't be here for results day since it's really important to me. It's a really big day for me, and I was hoping you guys would turn up. Me sorry. I will call you though. Dad, every single moment I've spent in school and college has led up to this point. I was hoping you and Mom would have at least considered that, and to expect me to not know my own results to fill in for you and Mom is unacceptable." Me, I was then blocked. I want to make it clear that not since childhood have I been upset about them missing events, but this one really got to me. I'm hoping to train to be a doctor and have worked extremely hard to get there. They built up these expectations in me for years. While I do feel for my brother, I think I have to put myself first in this situation. I don't know. My parents have since cut all contact with me and will not unblock me or explain their reasoning. I understand that getting away from everything and distressing is very important, but my parents both work for themselves and couldn't have booked this holiday any other week. Am I the asshole? You are not the cause of this issue. That's seriously messed up. Blocking someone, especially a minor, from contacting their own parents is irresponsible. Maybe going no contact until they start acting like responsible adults is the way to go. Also, consider checking out Are Raised by Narcissists for support. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.